My name is Christina Johnson, and over the last 8 weeks, I've been trying to put together a personal learning network. For my PLN, I decided I would use Twitter as my source. Why Twitter, you may ask? The first reason I chose Twitter was because of the multiple users. Twitter claims about 328 billion daily users, and it spans across the globe. It's a really popular website for people who are just seeking social interaction, as well as organizations who are trying to get their name out. On that note, it seemed like I could get a lot of purposeful following done on Twitter. Many educators, principals, and organizations utilize Twitter to promote content, to share ideas, and to really build community through the website. So to get started, I decided who to follow. I did Google searches about well-known teachers on Twitter. I went through this entire list of 36 Twitter accounts teachers should follow, and I followed every single one of them, as well as going on Twitter, typing in education-related hashtags, and following people who were posting under those hashtags, all that stuff, trying to find people that would be useful to follow. Here are a few of the people that I did find using those hashtags, and I followed every single one of them. This quick snapshot of my followers. I'm following 89 people. At the time, I only had 2 followers, but I also followed Sir Ken Robinson, who's one of my favorite TED Talk speakers. I was definitely interested to see what he had to say through his tweets because his talks are always so profound. I followed all of them, and I started navigating their stuff, seeing what kinds of things they were posting, and liking, commenting to get my name out there to start. I also followed a number of organizations. So the U.S. Department of Education, Discovery Education, Huffington Post Education, Connected Educators. I think most of who I followed at first were organizations, because it seemed like that would be the best way to connect with other educators. See who was posting on these organizations, whether commenting or retweeting or liking, and using those names to find other teachers. So to navigate, predominantly, I found resources at first because I was following organizations rather than individuals. I was getting a ton of useful quotes, articles, even commentary. Reading through people's comments on these resources was really helpful. I definitely took in a lot of great information while developing my personal learning network, but this was an issue because I know the purpose is to communicate with other educators, not just absorb ideas. But my absorption was amazing, and just doing this PLN definitely increased the amount of time I spent looking at educational articles and changed a couple of ways that I was teaching. I also did a lot of retweeting. It is nerve-wracking stealing someone's thing and posting it. At first, I wasn't doing a lot of quoting, but eventually I realized that it would be more meaningful if I didn't just copy and paste, and instead took the time to personalize what I was posting. Sometimes it was really short, but sometimes I had a little bit longer, more in-depth comments to make about the tweets. I also did a lot of liking and commenting, like I mentioned. It is the least stressful way to get engaged in the personal learning network. At first, I was just going through a bunch of posts and liking them because it was not only easiest, but also the less stressful. I don't know what it is about communicating with people online that don't know you, but it's a little nerve-wracking trying to start communications with strangers. I am not someone who has that problem in person. I talk to strangers all the time, partially because I worked retail for so long. I don't know, I have a friendly face, people talk to me, but online it seems a lot more stressful, even though it should be less, or you hear that it's less all the time because they don't know you. So if they think you're kind of strange, it's okay because your only communication with them is online. But I definitely found myself getting stressed over the concept of talking to these people, especially the well-known principals and teachers that I'm finding online. Ultimately, my biggest challenge was getting followers. Following people was the easy part. I did my research and found both organizations and people to enhance my personal learning network. Unfortunately, I have not had a lot of success acquiring new followers. I have absorbed so much useful content, but I've not been quite as successful at sharing my own. Here is an example of my problem. So my follower count at this point was 2 followers. I have increased slightly, but the number of followers was my biggest problem, but the quality of followers also mattered. So this person here, or this company, followed me and then immediately unfollowed me. I remember opening Twitter one day and seeing a notification that I had gotten a follower, and it was my first follower since opening Twitter. And then I realized it was someone who is not at all relevant to my purpose, which is creating a learning network of other teachers and educators and the education community as a whole. And then on top of that, that person did unfollow me the next day. So I acquired a follower, then I lost him almost immediately. So my plan, I developed a plan to acquire more followers and also make this lurking network a more meaningful experience. I definitely found myself to be predominantly a lurker. I was going to other people's sites, liking, commenting, but it was all on other people's content. Even when I'm retweeting, I am sharing content with people who are following me, but it's still not my own content. So definitely posting more of my own content, I believe, will help me to get more followers. People who author books get a reading base because they're creating new content. People are able to read something that's not already been read before. By simply regurgitating things that I'm finding on Twitter, I'm not really sharing anything useful that they can't find by following those other people. So I definitely recognize that posting my own content will help me build my network. Also, following more people and fewer organizations. The organizations are great to follow, and I was finding good commentary within the organization's posts, but it's not as personal as finding a person's site and following them and then commenting on what they are doing specifically. It's a lot more of an intimate experience versus just using the organization as a boundary. I think it's a good way to start, but in terms of building this personal learning network, it'll be a lot more effective to follow more people and fewer organizations. One other thing I considered was participating in live chats. These are the things that they'll schedule a meeting type at a certain time, and a bunch of people will log in and communicate using that hashtag. So I haven't done that yet. That's one thing that's on my list of things to do for building my network, is participating in these live chats. It's a good way to get my voice out, and it'll be in immediate feedback experience versus waiting until people log back onto Twitter to get a response. So since changing my plan, I have had some successes. I got a follower. This is my follower that's actually related to education. And I also got one of the teachers that I follow to follow me back. And another teacher followed me after I posted this. So I am starting to build a network of people that are not just being followed by me, but are also following me in return. And because I started communicating with people using their personal accounts versus an organization account, I was getting people who were liking my replies to their comments and liking my tweets. If I retweeted this guy's tweet, for example, and he liked that because I retweeted it, it was just a lot more personal because they were individuals that I'm following, not corporations. But it was really awesome when I started getting these notifications because it was no longer just me lurking. It was actually a network beginning to develop. I am still not completely satisfied with my personal learning network, and I'm hoping to continue to build it because I think it's a great way to not only acquire resources but build a community, and you definitely feel what the community is feeling, because when I maybe feel discouraged, I can find an article on something that another teacher has shared because they are feeling the same way, and even though it is an online community, you still feel those relationships starting to build because they're in the same place that you are, or this similar place, and they know what you're going through, and they have similar experiences and good advice a lot of the times. So I'm definitely excited. Even though the class is over, I will absolutely continue to build my personal learning network, and I hope that I can be as impactful as some of the teachers that I am following.